So around 3 months ago, I uploaded a video on how strong Eren Yeager is, with the incentive that if it got 100 likes, I'd make a part 2 covering the content that is in the final arc of the manga. You all completely blew my expectations out of the water, and now it has over 45,000 likes. So without further ado, for the last time, let's talk about Eren Yeager, holder of the coordinate, the new founder, the God of the Titans. Now, if you have not seen my previous video, I do recommend it, as I will be referencing stuff I talk about there in this video, but don't worry, I will put a link for it in the description below. However, even aside from that, this is a difficult topic to cover for a lot of reasons, but I will be going into that as I talk. Now, usually I would do this the typical power scaler way, go over strength, speed, and durability, and give you all these numbers and stuff. But that does not really work here. So instead, I'm going to go into his specific abilities, the limitations surrounding those abilities, and the ambiguities about them, and the stuff we don't really know concretely. The Founding Titan is kind of ridiculous, both in power and in the ambiguity of that power. A lot of stuff is left unsaid about it, and we don't truly know the limits of it, since the most we've seen it do was from Eren, and he lost on purpose. Kind of? So the best anyone can do is say what we have seen it do, go over the statements about it, and then speculate from there. First, let's go over the statements and descriptions. The Founding Titan is the coordinate to which the paths all connect, and the paths are connected to all subjects of Ymir. The paths are invisible channels that can carry anything from memories to wills to the bodily material used to create Titans, and even allows for the regeneration of Titan shifters, as shown when Ymir saves Zeke. This isn't to mention that the paths exist on a level that transcends even space and time. Now, I am going to get back to that whole transcending space and time thing, but the details of these abilities are really important. One thing that should be cleared up is that the Founding Titan's abilities should not be thought of as separate abilities. We classify them as such, like its ability to create Titans, its ability to manipulate memories, and its ability to manipulate people's anatomies. But really, this just falls under the broad category of having full control over Eldians. You can think of it as being basically omnipotent, but only for this select group of people. And that makes power scaling the Founder kind of weird, right? Because yeah, memory manipulation and body manipulation with no limits are fucking overpowered. But it doesn't mean shit if you want to consider how strong Eren is in the context of other universes. Like, if we take away this racial limitation and throw him against someone like Goku, yeah, Goku is really strong, but he isn't gonna do much if he just has his spine inexplicably removed. But it doesn't work that way, because Goku isn't an Eldian. So in the context of power scaling, a lot of the Founder's abilities are irrelevant, because they only affect a fictional race of people that appears in one franchise. So for this video, I have to limit things to what is actually relevant to this kind of discussion, and that brings us to a weird impasse in discussing how strong the Founder is, and in turn, how strong Eren is. Because there are a couple of ways of going about this. One, we have feats. Eren is shown being able to bring back all of the past Titan shifters, summoning them from his Titan body. Now in my previous video on this, I go over why Eren's normal Titan form alone was able to exert hundreds of tons of force with his punches. Then you have Titans like the Warhammer and the Jaw Titan, whose feats make Eren's punching look weak by comparison. We don't have any feats that we can really quantify for them, but the Jaw Titan was able to crush the Warhammer's hardening when Eren couldn't even scratch it. That probably puts Titans like him at having over 1,000 tons in attack potency, if not in the several thousand tons range. Obviously, like I said, that's more ambiguous because of a lack of feats we can actually put numbers to, but Eren is able to make a Titan army all with similar attack potency capabilities. This isn't to mention the colossal Titans he can summon that have been shown to casually toss multiple buildings around like it's nothing. Also, this was covered in both my previous video on Eren and and my power scaling video on Levi, but there is also the consistency of Titan Shifters and Ackermans being able to react to and fight at supersonic speeds, with Eren being able to dodge cannons after they fired, and Levi being able to perceive rocks going past the speed of sound. So this is an army of Titans all ranging from the several hundred ton range to the several thousand ton range of attack potency, with every one of them, aside from the Colossal Titans, breaking the sound barrier with their attacks, or at least being able to react to attacks that break the sound barrier themselves. And this is the real kicker about Titan creation, because theoretically, Eren should not be limited to past Titan shifters. In chapter 120, it is said that Ymir can create anything from the paths, including how she creates the Titans from the clay there. Now, this is admittedly speculation, but should this not mean that the Founding can create any Titan the user wants? After all, every Titan design is unique, even the 9 Titans that pass from user to user, and since Eren let Armin and the gang beat him, it wouldn't be surprising if he gave Falco a winged Titan specifically for the aerial transport that would allow them to do so. And if that's the case, that means not only can Eren create an army of Titans, he can also create an army of Titans based on whatever design he wants them to have. That does not only include flying Titans, but why not Titans designed for aquatic combat like sharks? Why not Titans that are venomous? Why not Titans that can camouflage? Why not Titans that have projectile attacks like the pistol shrimp or the bombardier beetle? I could go on, but I think you get my point. Yeah, this is speculation, but we are given no reason to believe he can't do this. So yeah, his Titan creation, as we've seen, is already ridiculous, unbeatable by the series' own standards. It could be even more ridiculous if Eren wasn't losing on purpose. Or was he losing on purpose? I don't know, it kinda leaves that up to interpretation. It's weird, honestly. But I think you can see why this is a weird subject to approach in terms of power scaling. So much of what Eren can do is limited by the circumstances of the series, with fate and motivation and stuff like that. But if you remove those narrative circumstances and focus solely on just how powerful he is, you're forced to speculate in some ways. And this brings me to what is easily the most powerful aspect of the Founding Titan, and I saved it for the end for this very reason, because the Founding Titan has total free range when it comes to memory viewing, giving a person access to not only the memories of all Eldians, both past and future, but also the full past and future memories of Eren himself. Because he has transcended to the paths, a realm that is above space and time, Eren himself has an existence that is also above time and space. Past, present, and future all exist at once for him, which is really just ridiculous precognition. But it also means that he has full control over his actions, both past and future. Although that part is also a bit weird, because really it was Ymir that was controlling this aspect, making it so certain events were assured to happen in the past. But like I said, for the sake of power scaling, I'm pushing that stuff to the side for now. Anyway, I have seen a lot of people using this to argue that Eren is fourth dimensional in terms of power, and this is where we get into some tricky stuff. Because yes, most likely Eren's existence is fourth dimensional or higher, which brings us into the tricky area of dimensional tiering. However, there is a massive disparity between his metaphysical existence and his actual power. Because remember, his ability to fight people who aren't Eldians is limited to his Titan army and Titan forms, which aren't nearly that powerful. Also, there is a ton of ambiguity into what him being a part of the paths even means. For example, in chapter 137, the paths are stated to be a realm where neither life nor death exist, making it a dimension above the concept of death. Does this mean Eren is immune to dying? I mean, he did die, but that was only after the Founding was removed from him, and it's unclear as to the degree to which he let that happen. And him being above death is not hard to imagine. Ymir practically brought Zeke from the dead with half his body missing, and Eren was revived from being headless, so even if his body gets fucking atomized, would he just regenerate from nothing? I think you could definitely make an argument for that. So yeah, normally at this point in the video, you'd see a thing on screen where I start giving lowball estimates of the numbers we can ascertain from the evidence thus far. But that doesn't really work here, does it? And that leaves me kind of at an impasse, like I said earlier, because Eren is incredibly incredibly powerful just on the concept of what the paths are, especially if you go with the Beyond Death interpretation, making him virtually unkillable unless he is up against some higher dimensional beings. But at the same time, he does not have the physical power to even approach such beings. So there is this massive range of power where he just stalemates people because he can't hurt them, but they can't kill him either. Oh, and none of this is to mention that also in Chapter 137, Armin says that Eldians are only connected to the paths because Ymir wants them to be. Now, this is just Armin's speculation, but Isayama chose to have this dialogue told to us. And if we are to take this at face value, does that mean that the paths really have no limits like that? Like, can Ymir just connect them to anyone? Because if that's the case, then sorry, super powerful characters, no spines for you. Eren wins these fights. I'll be honest, that last bit is more of a joke than anything, so don't take it too seriously, but that is just a small example of how power scaling the Founding, and therefore Eren, is so difficult. There's just a ton of shit we don't know, and any limits shown to be in place are so questionable because of these statements and narrative circumstances surrounding them. But I hope I presented all of this information and these ambiguities in a way that makes sense, and just makes it easier to take it all in, because it is a complicated subject. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did, and I hope to see you again soon.